Hey, this is Brad with Brad's Automotive, showing you how to remove an intake manifold on an '02 Mercedes C320. First thing you're going to want to do is remove the engine cover pieces. Now you're going to want to disconnect all the electrical connectors that are attached to the harness underneath that black plastic cover right there. You're going to want to take off this little hose so you can get access to the fuel injector that's right next to it. And then these little metal clips that are attached to the plugs are kind of annoying. So a lot of times you'll squeeze them together and they don't come off. So you're just going to want to take the whole metal piece off and then get a magnet to pull it out. And then whenever you're done, just put it back on the plug so you don't lose it. Here you're going to want to take off the fuel rail line, which is 17 millimeter. Just bust that loose and take it off by hand and just set it off to the side. Now you're going to want to try to get that black cover that's covering the harness off after you get all the injectors unplugged, to move it out of your way so you can start taking the fuel rail out. Take out the 4 inverted Torx bolts. They are a size 10. Those 4 bolts hold the fuel rail onto the intake manifold. Now that you have the black plastic cover out of your way and a little slack on the harness, it makes it easy to get the fuel rail out. There are 6 O-rings on here, and you're going to want to replace all of them before you put this back together. And lube them up before you put them back in as well. And right here, you're going to want to make sure you make note of all of the vacuum lines and where they go before you disconnect them. You also need to remove this black plastic piece that is attached to the throttle body, which also has the mass airflow sensor attached to it. There's a hidden tab down there you need to get with a flat blade screwdriver. Just pry it up and it comes right off. And there's also a vacuum line that is attached to the bottom of it. You're going to want to take that off as well. In the next step, you're going to be taking off the EGR pipe, and you're going to want to take off the engine bracket with the little loop on it before you attempt to take off the EGR pipe. Now you're going to want to start taking the EGR pipe off. The big nut that goes on top of the EGR itself is a 24, I believe. And then there is 2 inverted Torx that are attached to the intake manifold. You're going to want to loosen those first, and then loosen the nut on top of the EGR. That will make the whole process easier. And then once it gets kind of stuck, just kind of smack it with a pry bar, and it comes right loose. Now I'm just disconnecting all of the vacuum lines I observed earlier, so I can get ready to pull the intake out. Now I'm taking out the main inverted Torx bolts that hold the intake manifold in between the two cylinder heads. I believe they are 12. And the harness that's all the way around it, you're going to want to make sure you have as much slack on that as possible, so when you take out the intake manifold, it doesn't fight you as bad. Last but not least, we need to get the throttle body plugged off of the throttle body. It kind of fights with you a little bit, so get 2 picks and go on both sides of the plug and it should come right off. Once you get the plug off, pull up on the intake towards the inside of the car. Make sure you get all of the harness pieces off of the combi valves. Make sure you don't break anything and take your time nice and slow. I hope this video helped you. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.